So good afternoon. Thank you, as Tim said, for hanging around. I appreciate this time of the day. The bar is calling, so I do appreciate, certainly appreciate you hanging around. For the next 15, 20 or so minutes, I'm going to talk you through the 2015 Global Money Report, a report that has been authored by MEF, the Mobile Ecosystem Forum. A little bit more on those guys in a second, but it's in conjunction with Wirecard, from where I'm from. So, with any luck, I can have maybe a little bit of interaction along the way. There's maybe a couple of questions to ask the audience. It'd be good to get some feedback, and maybe, with any luck, there's some learnings that you can take out of this, what is a very comprehensive and good report. If you would humour me for 2 minutes, just give you a very brief overview on who we are, who Wirecard is, and then subsequently who the mobile ecosystem is. Wirecard has been in the payments industry since before 2000. We cover all aspects of the payment value chain through payment gateway services, acquiring e-commerce and point-of-sale transactions, through onto issuing and processing card brands or co-brands. We underpin that with a fully licensed and BaFin-regulated banking entity in Germany, as well as operating e-money institutions in the UK. Now, like many of our peers in this space, some of which are in the room, we've been going on a journey with mobile for quite some time now, and we work pretty hard to ensure that we're in the right space to deliver the technology that will enable this exciting and, I guess, new-ish distribution to really take off. And that leads me nicely onto MEF. So MEF are a fantastic member-driven organisational trade body, and they represent the interests of the mobile ecosystem that they strive, and those, I guess, strive to deliver value within it. They do this by acting, as I said, as a trade body and working towards accelerating the growth of a sustainable mobile ecosystem. And they have a particular bent towards inclusion and trust, which is, of course, highly relevant as we enter the mobile space. As a report that I'll discuss shortly showed, they're wide-reaching in their presence and offer a great deal of value in the space. So the survey, the first slide, the survey for 2014, actually, let me just go back one. The Global Money Report comprised a survey of 15,000 mobile media users. That went across 15 countries and indeed 5 continents. We asked them a number of questions. We asked them what they like to buy, how much they spend, how they bank, and what they think of emerging services like wallets, etc., etc. We also asked them what prevents them from making more use of the mobile platform as a tool for their needs. The report is very comprehensive. I've taken a few in what I consider to be interesting takeaways, and we'll discuss those now. So, mobile e-commerce is taking off. 2014, 66% of the mobile users had made some form of mobile purchase. So we know from that mobile e-commerce is going great guns. Okay, 43% of the users had bought something on their card, used some sort of online payment vehicle or mobile-enabled loyalty program. Now, conversely, proximity payments are not as well adopted. We're seeing something in the region of 20% have used a wallet in a POS environment. So it would appear to me that mobile wallets are the first in the queue for remodeling. That's what I take away from this. A third of the people haven't even heard of them, or they don't see the point of mobile wallets. Now, you could argue that that's not massively surprising. Most schemes simply perform the same thing as a card. And replacing plastic, as I'm sure we all know, is never enough. And in fact, payment alone is rarely ever enough to drive behaviour. So I think only when mobile wallets deliver additional value, either by shortening queues at the cash register or complementing the shopping experience with promotion or reward, will consumers really ever feel the need to use them as a channel. What do we see next? Consumers still don't trust mobile. Now, we're a slightly different audience here. We're very much in the space, but there are barriers. What are they? Trust, or rather lack of it, seems to be the single biggest obstacle in the way of the mobile money situation. Over a third of people named it as their reason why they don't purchase, and it's a big number. It's the reason they don't download more on their phone, and it far outweighs any of the other issues that they might have recognised, like bandwidth, network speed, or things that traditionally have been seen as the barriers towards the mobile story. And I think this is very telling. I think it's the most important barrier getting in the way of wallets also. And whilst I know us within the payments ecosystem, the payments industry, have worked really hard to create a secure set of rails within this mobile ecosystem, there's a clear call to action to make the users aware that the safeguards are in place to protect their privacy, consumers' privacy, their data, and the extent in which personal information is collected, and I guess more importantly, the way in which it is shared. And I think we've got a journey to go there. What's next? Social media. So, social media, fact, it is driving m-commerce. It's a key opportunity for m-commerce, in fact, especially in growth markets where you're seeing feature phones are still king. A quarter of feature phone users say that a social media page is their number one destination for m-commerce. Smartphones is a lower number, but it's still 15%, and that's a lot of people. So I think it's important. Now, I guess this is unsurprising when you look at social networking apps, and generally I think the second most popular category behind games. But we can see that social networks are going to play a big part. Well, what else is going to play a big part? Maybe I can ask a question. Maybe somebody's got a view on this. So, if we looked at it and said, beyond social media, what's going to drive payment services? What type of apps are going to drive payment services? I can give you maybe two sort of verticals that may be of interest, and maybe somebody else has got a view. So maybe by a show of hands, maybe who thinks that messaging apps such as WhatsApp, such as WeChat, Viber, etc., do we think that's going to drive the payment agenda? Anybody think messaging? What do we got there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7-ish, 7, 8. What about just standard individual apps? Do you think this is a merchant or an individual play? Do you think the likes of Uber, the Starbucks being the ubiquitous example, Walmart, do you think that those guys are going to drive the agenda? Do you think it's retail merchants and things like that? Nobody thinks that. That's telling, right? What am I missing? Is there an other? Does anybody with a view on a different type of approach? See, now when you put your hand up, that means I have to ask you. What do you reckon?
It's already aggregated apps where you can order your rich food for your life.
Yes, absolutely. So that's a really good point, and without prompting, it's a really good point. I think it's a combination of the two. My view personally, I think when you combine messaging and the ability to bring a P2P network in and then drive that out into a wider mobile ecosystem, I think that's very, very powerful. I do think aggregation will play a big play there as well. And I think that brings together a multitude of opportunities, creates a multiple opportunity payment event. So that's very good indeed. Thanks for that. Second screening. So, second screening is driving purchases. 94% of the consumers that we surveyed used another form of media while browsing on their phones. So this is most pronounced when it comes to television, with 42 people tuning into TV whilst they're on the phone. We all do it, and it's clearly on the rise. 35% in 2013, 42% in 2014. So clearly on the rise there. But interesting, when they're asked what they use their phone for during that second screening activity, when they're consuming other media, 14% of them said shopping or commerce of some form. Now, of course, 32% of them actually said that they were accessing the content that they were seeing in the primary screen, but actually 14% shopping or commerce. So, what does this mean? I guess this means a lot for advertisers. How do they best incentivize consumers to buy based on what they're watching, reading, listening to? But to us, from a payments perspective, what does that mean? I think it means that we need to ensure that there are robust and innovative enough payment rails They're going to support the products that drive purchasing in that sector screening environment. And I don't think we're there yet. I think that, again, that's another journey, but will be one that will be telling, I think. Banking via mobile. So, mobile banking, I would say, is now less of a trend. It's more mature. It's really starting to mature. People have tested over the years. I think Lloyd's back in the 2000s with SMS and balance checks and so on and so forth. But they've tested that water with their phone. They check their balances, and we're really seeing that now they're prepared to take that next step. Consumers have enjoyed that experience. They're reassured with the security, and interestingly, they are more reassured with the security in mobile banking than they are in mobile commerce. I think that's interesting. So now they're ready to move on to something that's more sophisticated and moving money around, either via P2P, but actually making payments using that as an application. And I think this is a key distribution for the increase in proximity payments. We saw before, proximity payments need greater stimulus to get going, only 20% of our survey. I think this is what will drive the ability for proximity payments. I think your bank giving you the ability to pay in a point-of-sale environment via a mobile payment solution is very, very powerful. And we know, even in the Dutch market especially, the banks are taking a real considered approach about how they deliver that type of solution. And I think that would be the way to go. And whoever wins will get a lot of volume out of that. I like this. The return of the high street. So more than half of the people we survey, 58%, and this is not brain surgery, but they find something they like in a shop. They look for a better deal on their phone. 28% of those people do so whilst in the store, to showrooming. Alex from Wirecard in the main track actually put a really good slide up with a much better joke than I could tell on this, and it was the idea of a gentleman going into the store and saying, "I really like those shoes. Can you tell me your Wi-Fi password?" Which I really like because it shows exactly how it's working. But the learning here that I like is the exact same amount of people, 58%, are doing the exact opposite. Okay, so they're finding something they like, they're browsing on their mobiles, and they find a product they like, and they get up off their seats, off their sofa, wherever they are, and they go into the store and they purchase that. So that maybe they want to touch and feel what it is they're buying, maybe they want to check the quality that you can't always see online, but the reality is that they are doing that. To me, that suggests that the death of the high street is a much exaggerated phrase. Actually, I think there is certainly opportunity there. But I think more interestingly, the ability to create the mobile device, not just as a payment mechanism, but a conversion to payment tool, I think that's going to be really, really key as we move forward. And I think that's starting to become real from what these figures are showing. Very interesting indeed. So, what does it mean? Good stats, good interest, I think certainly good interesting learning, but what do we do with these stats? What do we do with these learnings? And what do they mean for the future of mobile payments? If I'm 100% honest, it means absolutely nothing unless you can turn this into dollar, euro, cent value. There has to be an upside for this. For what it's worth, I'll give mine or a view on what might help us along, and it will just touch on some of the points that we pulled out earlier. So, payment is not enough. Payment will never be enough. As we know, mobile wallets must be more than just digital plastic. Okay? Value-added services will drive everything, and a truly unified approach from a provider that balances an innovative payment solution alongside a key value-added service loyalty solution will be the winning solution. Whoever comes up with that, really drives it, will be the one that wins in this space. Secondly, we need trust in the mobile platform, and it has to be a prerequisite for that success. And this is not the actual security of that platform, because I think we are streets ahead in terms of the security of the mobile platform. What it is, it's the perception of the user groups of that security. And I think those are two very, very different things. And we do a lot of work in this industry to try and talk about trust and security, and we do a good job of that. We've got a very long way to go, and particularly in markets where, generally speaking, they are further behind. That's where you will find those issues. Number 3, the ability to capture the mobile device as a optimized conversion tool, I think, is the key to making this successful. So if you can hang off that, if you can hang an innovative point of sale experience, if you can add a real solid way to do shortening of queues, if you can manage a differentiated purchase experience that has been started by the mobile converting the sale, then I think that's where you'll see mobile really starting to kick off. My view is that mobile e-commerce, whilst a great driver, is not the ubiquity. Ubiquity is in point of sale. And I think that will be very key. Thank you very much.